everyone. Welcome to those watching online. We are streaming today live on YouTube, so you will all be internet famous at the end of this. For those who are watching, my name is Professor Jeremy Hajek, and this is the ITM Information Technology and Management Program Senior Capstone Presentation Day. Okay, this is a day we bring all of our teams together. We're going to have 5 teams present here. We brought in some guests. Some guest judges and some guests. We have them over here, and we'll introduce them shortly. And so this is a fun time where you get to see undergraduates and even fifth-year co-terminal, people who are doing a graduate degree as well, who really worked very, very hard on an integration project. We're going to give you just a 5-minute background, and then we're going to turn it over to them. Okay? So we're going to have 5 teams present. They'll take about 10 minutes each to give you an overview. After each team presents, we'll wrap up. We'll let each team have a station here, and also you see in this next room out here, which we just got outfitted, we'll let them have a station so you can go and dig deeper. You can ask the deep, detailed questions. Ask about these technical points, maybe your expertise, right? Because they're geared and ready. They just spent 16 weeks doing this, right? So that's what we do. So we do have a guest judge panel, and they're going to judge. And it's going to be based on their choice. It's totally arbitrary. But we do have some prizes, right? Because as we know, everyone here loves Terraform. So we have some Terraform books, which will be the prize. But we'll also print you a certificate saying you won the People's Choice Award. It's kind of like a fun thing. No, everybody worked hard, though. Whether you win the award or not, all the teams put in amazing groups, even the ones that weren't able to present today. Everybody worked hard. And so that was really the most impressive part that I'd like to share with everybody else. Okay? A few thanks are in order before we begin. I'd like to thank Kayla Botica, if you know her. She's our department manager. She's been working super hard to get all the work orders in. You're going to see that new laboratory over there. It was a disaster just 3 months ago, but we got work orders in. Without her doing that, we wouldn't have this lovely space. We'd like to thank Dr. Maurice Dawson. He donated those large 70-inch screens. We're going to start using them. We'd like to thank Jermac Paul from OTS. He donated in OTS, the technology services, donated the stands. I'd like to thank Ann Scorza. She's the director out of the Wheaton Rice campus. She donated all the furniture. And so we got that whole room pretty much for zero cost, right, which is kind of nice. I'd like to thank also Tom Aristorolius. He's the building engineer guy. He fixed the steam pipe leak. He redid all the ceiling tiles. He did all the maintenance, cut all the old nails in the floor out. Without that, we wouldn't have a lab. I'd like to thank some other people very quickly. I'd like to thank our elite AV or ATS team, Rick and Rob here. They've been doing this for many, many years, but every year the production's really, really good. So we'll give this recording to everyone so that you can use this for your own resume pieces before, but they're doing that, so we're really appreciative of their work. Who else would we like to thank? We'd like to thank Ivan. Stand up, Ivan. Ivan's he won Teaching Assistant of the Year for the entire university, and he's been the teaching assistant for the class, helping students with obviously questions, a lot of Terraform. He helped set everything up here. I'd like to thank the gang. You met some of them wearing the white T-shirts as well. They're out there as the chaperones. That's really great that they volunteered to do that. They're from our student club, ITMO student club. So they're doing that kind of just as a resume builder and experience. We're really thankful to them. I'd like to thank my daughter here, Evelyn. She came along because she found out her dad was going to be streaming on YouTube, he's a famous YouTube star. No. But she said she wanted to help, and she helped me tape up some of the posters this morning and help set up the coffee table out there, so I really appreciate all her support and help. We have also Scott Pfeiffer, who's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, turning the cranks behind the scene, helping the whole college keep running, so he came in this nicely. And we have some guests from Career Services are here, so they'll be taking a lot of pictures, or if you tag a lot of pictures, you can hashtag us, Illinois Tech, on LinkedIn and things like that. So it's going to be fun. All right. So I'll just give me 2 more minutes, and then I will turn it over to the groups. And then that's what you really came here for, okay? So let's start this. And let's go display settings, duplicate. All right, so we're using this from last year. First of all, we'd really like to thank Jeff Smith, who you can see pictured here. We've been using his textbook, DevOps Anti-Patterns book. We don't have a physical copy anymore because everyone's got a digital copy. But if you haven't bought it, it's available at Manning Press. You could go out and purchase it right now. He'll autograph it for you. But we've been using it as a textbook and helping really bring his experience. You can see a picture of it there on the left. I think the one guy's pointing at it. So, yeah, come on in. So he's helped as well. We have Andre from last year. He was one of the students in the class, come back as a judge. Keith Willoughby, right, security expert extraordinaire, and he's got a lot of other experiences too, law enforcement, military, cybersecurity. And then Miss Marilyn Flowers, if you remember her, she's from last year as well. She's very famous. You probably saw her walking into the building. There was that display, kind of a TV of the history of IoT. She's in that video. She's in that video looking on Navy Pier, looking into the future, very, steerily. So she's famous. She's been on TV. So you can talk to Marilyn, because they put her in the video. So it's kind of cool. I see her every day. I walk in and it shows her. So they're kind of our guest judge panel. We have some other alum as well. Our friend, one of our AWS certified, a gentleman we met at the DevOps conference, Scott. And then we have some of our alum who are Motorola engineers, Enrique, right? Andy. I was going to say Alex. Andy. Right? So they were there in the class 4 or 5 years ago. So they can kind of see how it's evolved. So they're Motorola engineers, so it's kind of fun. And then all the guests that are here, if I missed anyone, there might be some guests coming in. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's start. What are we going to do today? Just a little history of what we are. We are the Information Technology Management. We basically broke away from computer science in the year 2000. There was a civil war. We're like West Virginia. We went and made our own state. The war has been healed. We're now part of the College of Computing, so we're all together again. But we have a discrete difference from computer science, right? One's not better than the other. We work together and we share a lot together. And the projects you're going to see are not just the culmination of, my work or my teaching. I would be real bad to try to even claim that. This is 4 to 5 years that all of these students have put in with 25 other professors, 7 full-time professors, 4 tenure track professors. We've got our supportive department chair who wasn't able to be here. He's with his mother, but Dr. Gurram Gopal. And then, of course, all of you know the legend of ITM, Ray Trigstad, who after 33 years, this is his final year, he's retiring. But also, your journey and whatever these presentations come up are really not much to do with me because you've been shaped by your journey and time here. So I'd like to thank all the other faculty who have input and helped shape you. So these students are ready to graduate, and if anyone's hiring, right? I gotta say that, they tell me, right? We have career services here. If I didn't say that, they'd have a talk with me later. You're gonna get a 15-minute quick overview, a demo and an overview. So we'll have a speaker and a technician at the computer giving you a demo. Afterwards, we'll break out. You can get larger demos at the little stations. Open exhibit time. So what did they do? Well, there were teams of 4 and 5, mostly 5. They spent 15 weeks basically building a 3-tier web app, okay? And we gave them a detailed infrastructure, right? So they had to manage the project, okay? So they had to plan out features, balance their schedules, right? They had to actually code it. They had to develop it. They were given a very simple, basic, like 3-tier example web page that they didn't really use, but they could see how it worked, okay? They had to administer it, so we're talking startup scripts, systemd services, we're talking vaults, we're talking, all the details it needs to actually make a 3-tier web app work. And then we mandated securing secrets management, so vault all the way, right? And then user authentication. So we were integrating OAuth, Google OAuth, so they had to work with a third party. There was no local password or store it in a database kind of thing. Essentially, it was from scratch. Now I provided basic Packer and Terraform templates, but of course each group modified and changed as needed. Okay, we required them to version control everything, right? We required them to build templates with Packer, automate it, and then use Terraform to deploy it on our internal cloud platform. Some may ask, well, why didn't you use Amazon? It's like, well, we could have used Amazon. We could have used Azure. We wanted people to see the guts of how, quote unquote, cloud works, right? Knowing that they could take these concepts and switch to a public cloud provider, which by all means, now that you've seen how the the meal is made, you probably want to pay somebody to make it work. We used Proxmox for our local virtualization. That's Linux KVM. We also did a hardware core integration with MinIO. If you know anything about Amazon's S3, right? MinIO uses the S3 protocol, the S4, SV4 protocol. So it is compatible with S3. But we have our own 20 terabyte S3 cluster on premises. So we asked people to integrate that for image storage, right? You know, object storage. So they had to deal with object storage, right? Which is, you're really not putting objects into databases, you're doing it over HTTP. And then we made sure that they automated everything. So automation and security were first-class requirements, right? You know, that we wanted to demonstrate they could deploy it automatically, okay? So you'll have access to these sites. They are currently internal to the university, but we can get you on the internal network. We've got some guest access here. Students had full access to the hardware, so they could see. We kind of had an open environment, so students could actually look at each other's, which is totally fine, because we wanted to have that environment where we could see things. Collaboration was encouraged, right? They deployed in total, this was kind of amazing, but they built and rebuilt their 3-tier web apps, and then eventually that was 5, then 6, then 7 VMs per. I think we deployed about 500 virtual machines the entire semester, right? So there was no fear in their teams like, all right, we're just going to rebuild it, okay? And everything was done safely for OTS and cyber technology. If you're watching us, we did it all within the VPN. We had a multi-network. We had 3-tier network, so we had internal networks so that we could expose databases on the internal network and not run afoul of our Nessus scanner or any of the OTS security things. So we played well with them. We were able to do this kind of extensive sandboxing without putting the school at risk, which they were happy, and we were able to produce some neat things. So I could go deeper into each of these. Each of these could be an hour-long tech lecture. If you're not sure of any of these things, you know, look them up, Google, or ask the students about these specific technologies when you get to their stations. And with that, now let's get to the real show. So I'm going to let's call up the first group.